Hey everybody, it's Paul here from RT Limited. I'm here with GTS, which is a local recruiting company for biotech in the engineering regulatory space. And so the brothers Robb and Greg Hoyle, the brothers Grimm basically, are here with me. So tell us more about yourselves and your business.
Sure. So Robb Hoyle, CEO of GTS. We are a life science, engineering, and executive search firm. A lot of the work that we do is basically supporting life sciences skill sets from preclinical research through scaling up and commercializing, whether it be a drug or technology, pharma, biotech, medical device, some supplier support as well in the CMO and CRO space. Some of the skill sets that we work on are regulatory affairs, quality assurance, manufacturing support, laboratory science. I don't want to take all the thrill out of Greg's 30 seconds here, but yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah, and then I'm Greg Hoyle. I'm our COO. I jumped on board about a year ago, actually, about a year and 2 days ago with GTS. And I do a lot more with our recruiting operations, making our processes more efficient, which helps our clients get the talent in this space a lot faster, and then also consulting the clients with process efficiencies on their end to make sure when we identify the right candidates, we don't lose them to a competitor. So that's where I spend the majority of my time.
Yeah, and we have similar mindsets, and it's the people, the process, and then I'm the profits. And what's your third one is performance, right? So 3 Ps either way, and we're hitting them. There are critical parts of your business, right? So if you don't have the right people in the right seats, you're not going to succeed. If you don't have the right processes, it's hard for you to scale and keep growing, right?
Absolutely.
So the way I look at people is more in the leadership style, right? And then the process is really your sales process. And people in between that is more like building your personas out and knowing who you're talking to. And then the profits will come after you have those two lined up, in my opinion. Right. And for you, the performance is really what you want in the long run, right? You want the right people in the right spot to help you get the end result of a new product or moving it through regulatory pipeline or building out the marketing platform, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So on the people side, you have a good team here, you're a growing business. What are your biggest challenges on the people side?
The biggest challenge is and always probably will be hiring the right people. What we do for our clients, interestingly enough, is as applicable for us. I had somebody say to me one time, do you follow your own hiring process that you would advise to a client?
Yeah, right. But you just practice what you preach, and it's like, no, you do what I say, kid, and that's it.
Yeah, but Greg and I are always talking about hiring the right people. And it's funny because I may seem sometimes like I'm not that worried about it, but I am. All day of the week, we've got Sam out there, John, Parker, Gianna. They're all great people. And from day one, starting the company, we've had really great people working for us, and we've also lost great people. Keeping those folks, keeping them engaged, training them, developing them, getting them to the next level of their career is the only way that we get to be successful and move to the next level as a company. So it's really important.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think our biggest, we'll say, gap that we're constantly working on is just making sure not only the right people, but they understand why we're doing what we're doing, right? So it's not only people that will follow you, because I think both of us kind of like wearing that leader hat, but understand why they're following us and why they're following a process that we set out for them. So, kind of folks that are good at taking orders, but also being a little bit more cerebral and understanding, okay, so this is why we're doing what we're doing. Because that's big for us, because I think that's where you really get the commitment instead of just, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C today. Right. I'm going to do A, B, and C today, and this is how it's going to impact our clients, and then a candidate looking to make a move.
The people who get it, they want to be in that position and are capable of doing it, right? And that's really the right mindset that you want to build out. And I think I recently took the Culture Index. I don't know if you guys have heard of it yet. A friend of mine did it for me on the arm, and I learned a great deal about myself and pivoted my business accordingly. Because before I was really just, shotgun blast. I kind of narrowed it down to more of the operational side, and that's how I focus. And I always have that process in mind, and I always have the people skills and the leadership skills, but now I have to focus more on the process side of it and building it out for companies. And that's kind of, it was mind altering. Like, this is where you are trying to do. This is exactly what you're built to do. So try to work more in nature versus nurture, right? And it was like, oh, and then I had my wife do it, and I was like, well, I learned a lot more about her, and it was interesting because, he's a military guy like me. He's like, yeah, you guys are very different, and we're very similar in some respect. We're both very impatient people, but we also have like a battery that doesn't end, right? So we can push ourselves harder than other people can and take on a lot more than other people can. So that's kind of where we are on people's side.
One of the things that we learned last year, Greg and I are both really good at the leadership, big picture vision. We're also very good at the training. Here's the right things to do. We're not so great all the time at managing and implementing and wanting to be following up with it. So we've actually learned that for ourselves to say, hey, we need to take an active approach to be able to do this. Right? Yeah. You can't just tell somebody, here's the tools and go do it. But also implementing and managing.
So that's where I'm good, right? Where I would be like, hey, and they talked about this in the training, was that you're the visionaries. You guys think way far ahead, and you're not into minutia. You don't want to you have the vision. You need someone to integrate and do the grind.
Right.
That's right. So you guys actually have an interesting dynamic. Your brothers working together. I mean, my brother and I would probably knock each other out. We're very different. How do you guys manage that? I mean, I think that's an interesting part of the business for you guys. I see the grins on both your faces.
No, the good thing is that we come from obviously a very similar background, but our lens and how we see things is very different. And from our similarities, we're also very different as to I think we complement one another, right? We're both not trying to pull exactly the same thing, and we're not stepping on each other's feet.
You guys have separated lanes?
Yeah. So, and that's and I think specifically that's been one of the things that I value most, is that this is my lane in the operations bucket. And Rob had a lot of really good best practices set up before I got here, and it was really the implementation, the discipline, keeping to those, best practices, right? And then
keeping your pulse, right? Keeping the same constant, yeah.
And then Rob's business development motor, and I'll always admit this, and I think that's a big thing, is seeing other business development people that have a better, well-tuned motor. I was asking him the other day, like, hey, how do you remember all these people that you met? 3 months later, you remember where you met them at and how you met them. And, I'm like, I have no idea how you do that all the time. And he's just on it.
Yeah, I'm the same, very similar that way, because, you're constantly, I remember people's faces. I'm not always great with names.
Right.
And I think that's one of the benefits of LinkedIn, is like you can relate the face to the name and make that connection. We actually met at a Chamber of Commerce executive roundtable, I think it was, at the Pyramid, right?
Pyramid Club.
Yep. And that was over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, little things like that. I remember what we talked about, like, what do you do? And we were just, and, we got in, and we actually connected on LinkedIn, and we built a relationship from there. But, I think that dynamic, that you guys know your lanes and know what you're handling, and because you can't do it all, and neither can you.
Yep.
So you got to delegate out some of the work so that hey, Greg, this is your role, this is my role. Let's do this together and keep pushing forward, right?
Interestingly enough, on the other aspect of it, ran the company for 5 years without Greg being here, right? He came on last year. During that 5-year period, and now I have an executive coach I'm working with too, but I never had anybody outside of the business looking in and saying, hey, Rob, you should do this like this, or this is wrong, or just that good, honest feedback that you get from somebody who doesn't care, that you're the quote unquote founder, boss, whatever.
Right.
Greg came in his first 2 weeks and gave me that feedback, and I was sitting there like,
probably ill-advised.
I've been doing this for 5 years of my own.
right, this is a little different for me, right? I'm not used to
exact
this.
reaction.
These things happen to me, earlier on in my career. I was getting a lot of feedback, but
Yeah.
it was great having him on board, and now I know that if there is something that's going wrong or it can be done better, he doesn't give a shit.
He's
going to tell me.
Like,
Exactly.
Hey, D-bag, this is what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's that. I feel safe in having those conversations.
That's good, though.
Right? Like there's that courage piece, which we always look for in our people, and it's not this big scary event, but some people make it this big scary event. I feel safe having that conversation. And are the responses always immediately great? No, but usually after a little bit of a deep thought, we end up being on the same page.
it's also a small team, right? You guys aren't like a 500-person organization, so you can have that. I see you across the way. I see you 5 feet away from me. Like, you can have that conversation, and you can hear a lot about what you're talking about. So I think that's very interesting when you have a family unit working together to grow a company. Now it's totally different than just you as sole proprietor. And I think there's probably a big learning curve for you more than anything else, giving up some of that control.
Yeah. Well, I actually ended up being very happy I'm able to go.
Yeah.
Honestly, in the past 6 months, let alone a year ago, I've done more business development than I've ever had since the company was founded.
Right.
When you have to manage the team kind of by yourself, it's a totally different thing. And Greg comes in with the ability to just run the whole show. Doesn't matter where on the earth I'm at, he can just do it.
Yeah. That the ship is sailing.
Yeah.
And moving in the direction that you set.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing.
And as a company too, we've got a lot of our senior recruiters are getting to different levels in their career where they can manage the accounts by themselves. They don't need that much guidance anymore. Yeah. So from here, it's just how do we get more folks like that up to that level?
And what do you think is the right person for the roles that you're looking to fill, or when you're ready?
The age-old debate, right?
Do you guys have a value set that you put down on paper, things like that?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we pretty much hire for character traits. We hired Parker back in September, and I liked Parker because I played basketball with him on Tuesday nights or whatever it is. And he's just a hardworking guy. He's smart enough to get what we do, but the big thing is he's hardworking, he's driven. We don't have to motivate this guy.
Yeah.
Right? We can
a motor and just goes boom.
Exactly. And then he wants to take it on. So it's really character traits, right? I can't I know that I can say some really great motivational things, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not self-motivated, it doesn't matter what I say.
Exactly.
It just doesn't matter.
I agree with you on that. I look for certain traits when I hire reps, especially in sales. You have to have fallen and gotten back up before.
Yeah.
If you can't,
like
that's the boxer in me. Like, you've been knocked down, you better get up. Right. I played rugby 15 years. You get hit from every direction, you better get up. Your teammates need you to get up and pull your weight. Otherwise, I don't need you on my team. Right. So those kind of traits, and I look for certain traits, military athletes, right, because they do have that mindset. Like, I have to keep moving. People are relying on me to move forward.
Well, and I try and get past to what they're going to tell me when we interview them. And like, I had a paper route when I was 11 years old. It was because my older brothers had paper routes. We created a loophole there, and I just took
this is our route.
Yeah.
Hoyle owns it. Hoyle rules. Hoyle rule.
And then I worked all the way through college and everything there. So those are the things that, not people that are exactly like me, but also people that knew what it was to be working to pay for rent and food and everything.
That's one thing my father always instilled in us, is hard work. You never get anything free. And if you want it, just go out and get it. Right. My first car, I had to buy it myself, my own money. I worked for a mason in the summertime, tarring foundations. They just take gasoline baths every night.
Nice.
Moving around, cinder blocks, carrying around, wheelbarrows of cement across a 2x6 crater, and then, doing whatever I had to get the money to do it. Then he's like, listen, I can't put the insurance under my name. You're going to cost me too much money. You got to do it yourself. So I had to pay for my own insurance. And for a 16-year-old boy, it's like, $2,000 every 6 months. You're like, you better. I was working to have a car. That was it.
Yeah.
And because we lived in the middle of nowhere, I had to have it. Otherwise, I couldn't see my friends. Like, I'm not driving you. You're 16. Drive your ass there, right? Or ride your bike.
Yeah.
So that hard work, and the whole family's been that way. And I think that's more of the reason why. Like I said this in a prior podcast, was all of us have gone and done some entrepreneurial stuff at some point. Like my dad always had a side hustle.
Yep.
My mom started her own, 2 of her own businesses from nothing and built them up. My grandfather, my sister, my brother, all our families they have that entrepreneurial mindset. It's there, and it's, you obviously have the same thing. It's the same values of working hard and build something from nothing. It's yours.
Yeah.
So, process, right? So process is both part of our businesses, the process of hiring the right people and putting them in the right place for other companies. But on your process side, how do you, and I guess it's maybe more your question on the BD side, because Rob and I, or Greg and I talked about it over our lunch meeting. How do you go out? What's your process to go out and get new clients?
Good. Great question. So now compared to where I was 10
Good to great. I love it. Good to great. Jim Collins. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Compared to where I was 10 years ago, when you start your career, it's all cold calling and these people don't know you. And when GTS started, nobody knew GTS.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
you're building a brand.
Exactly. You're building a brand, and it's not like you're just working one territory or anything like that. These days, it's much different for me. When I hear about, Greg will say, hey, there's CAR T cell therapy company in Philly, go get them. The first thing I do is I send an email out to 20 to 25 of my really good connections. And I let them tell me who knows whatever contacted the company
mm-hmm.
and make an introduction for me.
Yep,
and it's the same thing that I do for people that would be targeting a company as well. So I'm in with a group of super connectors, you would call it, or just networking in general. And
influencers, right?
Yeah, that's where I go. A lot of the clients that we're getting are made from introductions, and I'm not even targeting the company these days. So what I call this is, I call this like advanced sales techniques. You're 100%. Building relationships over 10 or 15 years, and people know that you're going to connect them and vice versa. So when you start giving it forward first, it'll come back to you. If you really need it, you can get it.
Have you read Bob Berg's The Go-Giver?
Yes.
Yes. So it's the same exact thing, right? Like, and Adam Grant's Give and Take, the same exact thing. You give, it'll come back. Now, the big thing with that, is patience. Yeah. I think that's what I know from my profile. I'm a very impatient person. So I've had to learn to quell that impatience and still work the process and keep with it. Otherwise, I'm like, no, let's go faster. You're not moving fast enough. Let's go. And I'm very hard on myself because of it. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I've learned. I've been like on an EQ journey for like the last 3 years, and like make yourself a better person. You've gotten by on your traits and on your personality and your aggression. Maybe you should tone that back a little bit because some people are intimidated by it. And have you ever read, and another book, I'm a book nerd, so Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. He talks about how people make decisions in system 1 very quickly. System 2, it takes some time to process.
Mm-hmm.
People make first impressions with system 1. When they first meet you, you have 3 seconds.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Maybe a second to make that first impression.
Yep.
And if you don't, then you lose that. Then you have to build it up, and it's a pain, right? Because you think, is this guy trustworthy? Is this guy going to murder me in the corner? Or is he going to crush me? And so I think being males, especially, it's harder because if you're semi-fit and you have a square jaw and you're big, people are like, that guy's going to murder me. You're going to crush me. And people get intimidated quickly. And so you have to quell that with a smile. Right. And that's the little things that make a big difference. So I think on the process side, you're having people do the work for you and make the introductions, but then you're paying it back the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of how we started talking.
Yeah.
And I think, I shared some tools with Rob Greg about how to target different people and to find out more insights when you're doing the cold side of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The outbound and some of the tools that I shared. I don't know if you've started using them yet.
Yep.
But, hopefully that's helpful, and you can give some insight, because if you are trying to build out from different areas, you can find out a lot about the person before you even talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of tools that help. So
doing your research is I mean, that's the difference between the cold call and warm call, right? I mean, You don't know about your target.
So in my sales process, I call it the recon sales process, right? The military and the orthopedic mind of my body. R is the biggest and longest part of the process, the research side of it, right? So who are you targeting? What are they like? Where do they find out their information? What do you know about them based on their profiles in several different areas or websites, whatever? You can do due diligence through your connections and say, hey, what do you know about Joe Smith? Wow, I play tennis with him twice a week. Oh, great, that's awesome. And little things like that will help you get your foot in the door, and then build that rapport very quickly when you actually do connect with them.
Yep.
So
that's what I think from my lens I came from one of the largest firms in North America to a smaller outfit. That patience piece and the strategy around what we get to do, that's basically the advice that I would give anyone. You're very transactional, tactical. You've got to hit a certain amount of emails and phone calls. And when you're working for the big company, that patience piece, I always knew that's what made me successful, because I knew the people that I was talking to valued that I didn't call them every day, and I didn't call them every week, and they appreciated that I was there every 4 to 6 weeks and wasn't bugging the hell out of them when there wasn't
just checking in.
Right. So that piece was always, I had a little bit more of that, and Robb's taught me this. I've always followed buildings because I had a territory, so whoever's in the building now might not be in the building 5 years from now. People and companies. And the buildings are out because we're not bound by a territory, but the going to conferences, meeting people, remember where they're coming from, how you might be able to help them out.
Yeah,
that's definitely helped me improve my game a ton, which is something he's able to teach me.
That's what sales is, right? You have a challenge, you have a problem, I have a solution, and that's really it, right? I mean, you can make it more complex than that, or you can simplify it. I was talking to my sister last night. She's a pharma rep, and I was probing her. I'm like, do you have a sales process? Do you follow? She goes, no. I go, what? And she goes, we have the data on the doctors, who writes, who doesn't. I'm like, okay, so you might have developed a process over time, but what are your trainings? Like, oh, they send us digital stuff and nothing on paper. I'm like, that's fine, but do you remember each step, and how do you differentiate yourself in each step? She goes, well, our job is to close on every step. I said, okay, now you're sounding like a car salesman. Like, what? Tell me. I had to pull it from her, and I was like, I trained her in some respect in the car conversation, but I'm like, so tell me how you research. Well, I just look at the numbers. Okay, let's say you're going after Dr. X, who doesn't write for you right now. What's your process? She's like, well, I don't really have one. I'm like, let's talk through it. I'm like, because I can help you grow your business from the outside in by offering you that insight. And so that was very helpful. And she's like, let's talk some more. And that was another meeting. But it's kind of weird, like when you don't have a process written down, or even something in your head that you can put on paper and say, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and then rinse and repeat. So God forbid you have turnover, you might be able to train the new people to do that.
It's one of the things that we're working on right now. Actually, it's our key initiative this year, is setting. So we know all the things we need to teach these guys.
Yeah.
But having it all down in one place, and actually what we're going to do is put it onto an e-learning platform, so that from day one, here's what you do this week.
Yep.
Here's what you do 6 months later.
Yep.
But that continued education on the process. So for us, there's 2 processes, right? There's the sales process that if Greg and I had needed to follow it, we would. Right?
Yeah.
But the recruiting process is something that needs to be managed and followed and improved every single day of the week.
So you guys have both told me that you have like a certain step process for bringing on new talent, right? Do you have it written out?
In terms of internal hiring?
Yeah, no, internal, like when you bring on a client, you have a process that you follow, right?
With the client.
With the client.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's written out.
Yep.
So now we just got to do it internally.
Yes.
Right.
And it's about 30% written out internally.
I mean, that's the hardest part, is I started doing the same thing, and it's time consuming.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're like, all the stuff, I forgot that. And you go back and reread it again, like, you forgot a step, you have to go back, and then you're written in.
You have to, this is the patience piece. You have to take a step back from running in your day-to-day and say, if we actually sit down and take the time to get this done, then the team can move forward at a higher level.
Have you read Traction yet?
I don't think so.
It's a good book. You should definitely read it. I just finished it. It's tons of great insight for getting that traction you need to move your company forward. And for me, I feel like more laser focused because of it. And I'm moving in the right direction, which is all I really care about. For me, the mindset of move forward the ball, keep advancing,
It's this idea too about working on the business versus working in the business.
Right.
You can totally get caught up doing the productivity part. Like there's endless amounts of work that we can just do here. But if we don't work on the bigger picture of the business and take the time to do that, and we get caught up in the minutia, we're never going to be able to grow.
Yeah, I think one of the things that talks about in the book, and I just took a class on objectives and key results. I don't know if you ever heard OKRs. It's what Google uses and Intel. Basically, it's a measurable 30-day or 90-day evaluation, right? So you give yourself an objective. Let's grow the business by 10%. Great. How are you going to do that? Break it down, and you do, like, say, 5 key results to do that, but measurable key results. So let's say add 10 new clients or place 10 new people, and you only place 3, you get 30% grade on that. And then you take for each one, and you get an average of all, say, 5 key results on the top line. So maybe your average is 70%, or it's 30%. You have failed. Right? So, you set your bar, and you say, oh, anything above 65% is good for me, or 70 or whatever. It means you're moving the ball forward, right? But it gives you a measurable quarterly evaluation on yourself and your team, and then you can break it out to your teammates. Like, here, this is your key result. You have to handle. How are you going to do that? So then you break it down even more. So it's great for sales, and I'm going to start implementing it in my training. So, profit side. Tell me your challenges there. And obviously, I think for most businesses, it's very similar, but tell me what your challenges might be.
Yeah, so there's 2 things that we, one of the great things about working with my executive coach is he has made me dig into the finance part. And actually, I'm nowhere near where he wants me to be, but I'm much further than I was a year ago.
Right.
One of the things that we're working on as a company is to get as many retained searches versus contingent as we can. Because it's hard for us to sit here and say, here's how much money we're going to make in the second quarter, right? It's not, we're not selling widgets and there's 100,000 that are going to get sold next month, right? It's a service. So how do
there's ebbs and flows.
Exactly. How do we get more stable? Well, the number one way is to sell more retained searches versus contingent. We're doing a pretty good job of that. The other piece that we worry about is collecting money. This is like the thing that keeps me awake at night. Clients want to pay you when they want to pay you, and you've just got to kind of deal with it. I heard one of my really good contacts told me that it's lawyers, then recruiters for the last 2 people who get paid. I don't know how we got above the lawyers. But,
my accountant, I wait for it to pay him last, but he's always one of my best, returns on investment, actually. So
So, but those are really, it's what is the continued profit going to be, right? And where are our benchmarks for where revenue should be? And then the other thing is making sure that we keep expenses down.
Keep your fixed costs down.
Well, we spent probably 3 times the amount of money last year on conferences and marketing and travel, and this year we'll spend even more than that. But those things have led to more accounts, more clients, more business. Our, the amount of business that we have to fill is very high right now.
That's awesome.
Which is, I'm not complaining about that.
Especially this time of year, like expect it to be busy this time of year, and then carry over.
Right, but that's a result of 5 or 6 different things. Greg coming on last year allowed me to do more business development. We're 6 years in business now. Clients are calling us back from early on. All this stuff. Plus the market is red hot. So it's good.
There's a lot of people hiring right now.
So no, I'm the best sales guy on the planet. Okay? That's the reason why I'm going to
Okay.
No, it is. It's super hot.
You, sir.
It's not that hard to get the jobs. It's hard to find the people.
Correct.
And that's the deal.
So I think, there's obviously tools to help you guys with that and placing the right people and doing all those things. But and then the retained search thing of it. How do you differentiate yourself with that and the retained search side?
You want to go?
the primary thing that we do is making sure we're disciplined on our end, and this is where I go back to like discipline and courage, that we're talking to the people who actually make the decision. So that sounds like a little thing, but for us, it's, there's not, we want to make sure there's no third party when we're recruiting on things. So we're not talking to, Paul, who is this intermediary between us and the decision maker. So whether it's a human resources person, talent acquisition person, executive assistant, administrative assistant,
people person in the
right. So kind of that person to keep us away. So when we talk to a client and then basically we say, hey, we will absolutely take care of the position, but we're going to prioritize it. They need to prioritize short conversation. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes 10. It's not all that complicated what they're looking for, but we don't want to hear it from somebody else. We want to hear it from them. So kind of our policy is, hey, if you can't take 30 minutes out of your day to get back to us, we're going to lose the candidates anyway while you're doing whatever. It must not be that important of a need. So
it's a good point.
It's just as important what business we don't take as what business we do, because then we can spend more time with our clients that are giving us what we need in order to be successful.
But it also tells you about the culture of that company.
Sure.
Right? Like if it's not a priority to them, it might not be a priority for them to grow either. Right? So maybe it's not the right person to work with.
Yeah.
It's qualifying.
So yeah, exactly. It's qualifying. And for us, I've never claimed to be the best recruiting company on the planet, period. I've claimed to be really, really great with companies that allow us to partner with them.
Right.
I can tell you right now that we're better than every recruiter on the planet for 10 of the companies we work with, because we know them inside and out. They allow us to partner. We have the relationships. I don't want to be an order taker where we're just like, oh, hey, here's this job, Rob, go find it.
Yep.
I'm not going to be able to impact that.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. So it just goes back to the relationships and the partnership. If you're able to partner, then you're able to deliver.
Right. So the last part of it is RTB, right? So being an entrepreneur is not easy. We all know that. Tell me what motivates you guys and helps you ring the bell every day, go out and get it.
You want to go first?
For me, it's evolved, right? It evolves over time. And so I'd say right now, my perspective is that everything that we do here has our name on it. And I have
Hoyle rules.
Right. Right. But yeah, I mean, my perspective is I spent 10 years at a company. It was very successful, enjoyed working there, and pretty much so walked away with nothing. There was nothing tangible, and I'm not looking for a pension or anything like that, right?
No one's going to get one anyway. They're all going to, Social Security be gone by the time we get old enough to get
right. So to me, that's what
yourself.
I think is neat is for the first time I have an opportunity to actually have ownership, true ownership, equity stake in a company, and basically that company is going to grow or not grow based on what I'm doing.
Based on your efforts, your blood, sweat, and tears.
Right, yeah. which means that, the future of my immediate family when I'm, starting to try and have kids and everything like that, what we're doing.
Well, he hears the hard stories.
Yeah. I have 3. What do you have? 2? 2. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy.
So basically, to me, that's what everyday's effort means. Hey, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, what I can provide for my family.
Yeah.
So I like that. I feel a lot more in control than I've ever been. And it was, a perceived risky move, leaving a, comfortable job for a, an industry leader, and then, jumping. There was 3 of us, right? When I started. So it was scary, but I had, support of my wife and confidence and faith in what Rob was growing. And it gave me a very good peek behind the curtain to see, okay.
That's a big difference though. When you can see behind the curtain, it's a big difference in whether you're comfortable making that jump or not.
You know what you're getting into and you're not disappointed, right? Like, I thought we had a better applicant tracking system or better. No, I knew what applicant tracking system we had. It was good enough. We're good to go.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So talking about that one, into it real quick, but there's a poem that I always reference. It's my dad's poem from Vietnam, and it's basically says that don't be afraid to step away from the secure life and then sort of to advance and grow yourself, because being uncomfortable will make us all grow. right? That's basically the synopsis. I could repeat it, but I'll just start crying. So that's basically the synopsis of it, right? And so what about you?
Yeah, so for me, it's changed over the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So from day one, right, quit my good job, take $0, no paycheck. So I was driven to, hey, I gotta go make money. I gotta bring clients.
Yeah, kill the eat.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, all right, I can actually do this. I'm going to figure out how to grow the team. So then you grow the team, and it's still scary every time you hire a new person, right? Because you have to pay that person.
Yeah.
So my main motivation these days is to make sure that the team's fed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally get out of bed and say, I need to bring in business so these guys can eat.
Yep.
And if I don't bring it in, they're not going to be able to eat, right?
Yeah.
So that's the main driver for me now. Before it was different. It was like, all right, can Rob do this? Can he go make money for himself without a paycheck?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No big deal.
You've done that.
You got it.
Yep.
I get it. Nowadays it's like, hey, I gotta get these guys to the next level in their game. I gotta support them, give them whatever they need.
Yep.
That's my main driver. I'm a people person in general, so it's like making sure these guys and the team are doing well. That's what I want to do every day.
Okay, great. Well, I think that kind of tells us a lot about your business, your personalities, and how you're looking to grow. Hopefully you got some value of this conversation. And I think that it give you some insight on what some other stuff you guys can do to help keep moving the ball forward.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having us.
I really appreciate it. Let me know if I can help in any way. All right.